Hi and welcome to Advanced Scheduling Routing Training. Route planning uses big maps to help you efficiently schedule jobs and provide directions to employees. Maps can be displayed in 2D, 3D, road, aerial or bird's eye views. Zoom in or out for more detail. Reschedule appointments by drilling into the calendar view and adjusting entries. Print work orders, maps and directions. Reduced travel time between jobs means reduced costs and happier customers. So let's start by selecting routing. As you can see down here, I've selected routing, and just to be clear, we do use Microsoft Bing Maps as Microsoft Bing has some great functionality across the web. Now, to view any given date, we can by selecting a date range here, pressing the Go button, and it will view entries in a given date range. So the first thing we have to do is select an employee or a resource that we want to route, and normally that would be an employee. It may be subcontractors as well, but normally it would be employees. So click your employee icon here, and what that's going to do, I've selected the date, the 11th of the 12th, 2020 in my sample data, so it's listed now all the employee resources for that day that have jobs. So administration has 5 jobs on for the day. You can see Andrea has 1 job, Clarence has 5 jobs, and so forth. Dr. Jones has 3 jobs. We'll stay with Dr. Jones for now. All the other functions that we're used to, colouring, etc., you can see the job colouring there, red for priority. I move over to appointment colouring. Many of those features are still applicable across all the other views. If I hover over an employee, it should give us information about the employee's details. And we can select the X button here to clear the list or refresh the list at any time. So we're seeing jobs for a particular day currently that we've set, just to recap. Now, my sample data has a little bit of duplication in it here, so I'm going to turn this one off because you can see that it's at the same address even though it's a different job. I could leave that on, but just for the purpose of today's training, let's turn that off. Now, just to recap on why I'm looking at the Los Angeles map right now, that's because up in Tools Options, I've set my starting map location to be Los Angeles, California. Okay, so Tools Options on the General tab, you can set your starting map location. Alright, so you can see here I can also, using my shift key, we can paint more than one job. So if you had a lot of jobs on for today and you wanted to right click, you can select different above or below, you know, all the different options there. You can also right click and open the related job at any time. You can copy the address to the clipboard in case you want to print that out with something and hand it to the employee. We can view this job in the job list or the calendar view as well. That will help with rescheduling if we need to, but I'll show you that shortly. So what we'll do now is, now that we've got the job listed, the next thing to do is to route plan. So to route plan, I want directions, so let's check our directions on as well, and you can see the directions docking pane appearing. You can move any of the panes up or down and resize them. You can minimize panes and grab more screen real estate at any time. And we'll do that in just a moment. Now, if you've only selected one job, you can't get directions for one job. You'll have to have more than one job in order to get directions for more than one job. So let's press the Go button and let's get our directions. So you can see the map has come in and mapped our directions, and we've got our directions listing here in text, but also we've got a route map plan. You can click in and double click to zoom in on any of those entries. Just double click and you'll zoom into that entry and see more detail. You go to a bird's eye view, you can see entry at a bird's eye level. Road view, and there's an aerial view. All right. Now I've route planned from the first job to the last job. If the employee in my employee setup, I don't have a home address for the employee, so that's grayed out, but I could route plan from the service center, and I can choose which service center, whether it's the employee's default or not. And I can route plan from the service center to the last job, or route plan to home, or go from home to home, and the directions will be automatically sorted accordingly. Now, we've got Dr. Jones up again, and I'm going from the service center, and you can see the service center was added here, so it would route plan from that service center. If I go back to our first job, and we'd be route planning from that first job, press go, and we get directions accordingly. So let's make a little bit more screen real estate by pinning away the navigation pane, and you can see here we've got a better view of the map, and we've got our directions. Now you can see that's got a 4 AM start, which is pretty early, so let's have a look at that in calendar view. By double clicking, you'll launch it in calendar view. I can reschedule that and change it to 4:30 or 5 o'clock, wherever we're starting there at 6 now. So we've got a 6 AM start. If you go back to your route view, you'll notice that we've got that rescheduled to 6 AM now. Now, if we double click again, and I might reschedule that to Mark because he's got a pretty busy day there, Dr. Jones, so I'll reschedule that to Mark Williamson. We go back to our route planning. You can see it's left off that job, and it's now with Mark Williamson. And we'll just open up that pane, do a refresh, and Mark Williamson now has that job. So it's easy to reschedule people across different jobs, and simply by double clicking, moving into the calendar view, and then rescheduling each of those entries accordingly. So I can open that up and bring that up to 7 AM, come back to our route view, and that's now set to 7 AM, as you can see. So again, maximizing real estate, we can do that at any time, get the directions off the screen. We've got a full map there. I can even minimize that, and we get a full map on screen. That can be handy because if you want to go and print the map, which we can't do just at this moment, there's nothing on the directions on there yet, we can print that. So let's do that next. Just bring that up. And we'll bring in directions. And what we'll do now is we'll go to the print option. We can print a work order from here still. We can print routing directions or routing directions with maps. So let's do that. And you can see our routing directions, the time, the travel time, minutes estimated, the jobs that we're on. If we move over the next page, we can see the map. The nice thing about the map printing is that it will print the view that you've zoomed into. So if you zoom right in, it will print that map view accordingly. So that's routing functions. The routing functions are new, and we will be venturing into GPS tracking in future releases. We do store coordinates, XY coordinates, and we'll hopefully be able to feed devices those coordinates so that when you get your job, your GPS tracker can also start the GPS tracking function automatically for you. That's coming in a future release, but not this first release. Thank you for attending routing, and I hope once again, that was a useful training session. It's pretty straightforward and a very powerful feature, and for those that require routing, have the propensity to really reduce costs, make your customers happier by reducing travel time between jobs. Thank you.